Hello, we are back, and this painting is so exciting to me because it feels like I have crossed a threshold, or rather, the painting itself is the threshold. I don't know. Of all the kind of basket blob form paintings I've been making, I feel like they've been, if those have been kind of like, spying from the curb or poking around at the mailbox or inspecting the pavers on the way up to the door. This painting is like, oh no, the front door's open. We can see inside the house. And yeah, there's one of the first ones I did. And I took the inspiration from that to move to a different painting surface. Like I had been painting on canvas that had been glued to plywood. And that little painting I just made on a scrap piece of plywood without any canvas and realized that I loved the texture so much more. And so um, made a handful of these like larger boards, and I think I'm gonna paint from this on this from now on. It really just suits the work and the way I want to work, and have been. Yeah, so there's like a fluidity, a watered down washness to the paint that I am trying to capture. And as you will see here, this one starts to drip and melt pretty quickly. And so kind of I lose all my work. I mean, that's one way to look at it, of course, right? Like I had my moments where I was like, maybe that's the work. Maybe that's the thing. But I don't think so. I don't think it's what I want to happen. And so basically what I'm doing in this painting is experimenting. I'm just iterating on this basket form, this palette. What are the steps? What are the colors? What's the viscosity of the paint? And it feels very scientific. It feels sort of like craft and logic driven. Like I try something and it tells me like that is it or that is not it. And so then I try something else. And so this painting is sort of like an exercise book, like those, you know, little notebooks you get in elementary school where you practice your letters, where they give you the lines and the dashed line in the middle. Um, that's sort of what's happening here. This one looks like a little bread. I think that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, am I painting bread? Oh, okay. Here's why I have my idea to combat the dripping paint. Bring in the old trusty hair dryer. Um, which yeah, just there was just like so many minutes of hair dryer footage that I cut out of this, but it's now like 50% of my painting process is just standing with the hair dryer. Not a bad way to spend the time, honestly. Anyway, if you start to notice the piece of paper start to accumulate scribbles on the right hand side, um, I always have a piece of paper nearby when I'm painting to, you know, take notes about what I'm thinking. Um, Sometimes there's like a line of poetry that comes to me. Sometimes I'm writing down the colors that I'm using or something I found that I want to take note of and experiment or try differently another time. So it's kind of like notes to self. Sometimes sometimes I'll be having an argument with someone in my head, and I will while I'm painting, and I'll just write down some notes on that piece of paper so I can. It's kind of a way of being like, you can sit over here for now because you're like taking up too much brain space, and I'm working on this painting. So the piece of paper serves a lot of purposes. Usually it's just on the table when I'm making a little one, but when I'm making a big painting, I have it up on the wall. And um, yeah, one of the notes, it just says, "Look, New York City," because I was thinking about how just the other day I was driving with my 4.5-year-old in the back seat, and we were driving on a highway in Austin, and you come out from behind some trees, and you can see the whole of the downtown off to your right, and he goes, "Look, New York City," and um, I was like, no, dude, that's Austin. And basically, after, having a discussion, I understood that he basically thought that, we live in Austin. So all of the places that we go, like my house, the grocery store, his school, his friends' houses, all of those are like Austin. But because of, a few movies that he's seen, he thinks that like a grouping of skyscrapers is New York City. And so he thought that like downtown Austin was New York City. And so when I explained it all to him, he was like, "Oh, okay. Okay." And that was kind of the end of the conversation, and I just absolutely love how like a how open and delighted he is to regurgitate new information, whether or not it's been verified. Like, he's just so stoked about what he learns about the world or what he understands, and he just feels free to declare something like, "Look, New York City." He's not afraid to be wrong, I guess is what I'm saying. And also how quickly he adapts in the face of new information, like me explaining how, cities and geography work. And he's just like, "Oh, okay, moving on." Like, he's unbothered. And I just find it so charming. Now, every time I see Austin in the distance, the downtown, I think to myself, "Look, New York City." Anyway, you're seeing me repeat the same set of steps over and over again. And I do actually write them down. And there's this raw sienna that I just put down around the outside that I then, drag across the form in a way as a way to kind of create three dimensionality. And uh, this is the first one on this painting that I attempt to go a step farther and create instead of just stripes, like bring it back to an actual basket weave. But I'm kind of wrestling with, the thinness of the paint and the hair dryer, and also like needing it to stay tacky so that I can paint over certain sections. So it's kind of a technical thing to solve, but I like this little one. It feels like a turtle shell. Um, and there's this thing about the layering of these forms that is like, okay, I put down this first layer. I want it to be translucent and luminous, but I don't want it to drip all the way, so I need to dry it a little bit, but I also want it to be affected by the things that I paint on top of it. Like, I want to be able to drag the darker color through it and for it to be changed. And so it's like a fine line, um, trying to figure out how to get what I want with the paint. Um, Moving on to the last one, my favorite one. Of course, I get better towards the end after having done how many? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. The eighth one. Um, and that's why, I'm just going to be doing a lot of these paintings to get my reps in, you know. It's like also helps me to know that like I can definitely just afford to be wrong. It's okay to try stuff and, mess it up, because it's like, well, I'm just going to paint a bunch of these rather, and I will learn a lot. And there will be a lot of them that I don't like, but those will teach me something too. What I love about this one is the way that the lines curve in the middle where it kind of pinches. And I think that pretty successfully creates, some more depth. And for whatever reason, the paint does like move and drip in just the right way. Like, it's just the exact right consistency that, I don't know that I could replicate perfectly every time, but it's going to be something I develop a feel for. This also feels a little bit to me like swimming lately. I have gotten very into swimming laps the last like 2 months, and I've never, I don't know how to swim properly, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, I mean, I can swim, right? But I have never done it as a sport and no one's ever taught me. I watched a couple of YouTube videos on like the proper, freestyle form and then just like went for it. And have felt like, definitely moments where I'm completely floundering and moving very slowly in the pool and feeling very awkward. And other times where there's like a few moments where I can really feel that I'm pulling myself through the water and I can sense that I'm going a bit faster. And something about swimming is so pleasant. I mean, I have historically not been a fan of cardio. Um, but like if I run, my knees hurt. I don't like biking that much, other than like biking to an ice cream shop. And so I'm not used to like enjoying cardio. And so that's been really novel. But because I'm so new at it and such a beginner, there's I'm basically just very bad at it. And because it's doesn't hurt my body, and really the only discomfort is sort of being out of breath. Um, but like I'm in the water and it's really pleasant. And it's usually like the golden hour by the time I get to swimming in the neighborhood pool, and there's still like some little kids playing off in the distance. And so it just is kind of a romantic thing to do. And really, the only thing I notice, or like the loudest thing, is that I'm getting better at it. Like 2 months ago, I, struggled to do 2 laps without like stopping to really catch my breath. And I couldn't do the little flippy thing at the end. And I was like tapping out at like, 10 laps or something. And I just went the other day and like noticed that, yeah, I'm moving through the water much quicker and can swim for much longer without taking a break. And I'm just swimming longer in general, longer distances. And there's just something about that so exciting. You're like, wait, I'm just getting better at this thing. And um, I don't know. Like sometimes I think if you don't start brand new things, like when do you get that experience? You know? And it obviously comes at the cost of feeling like a ding dong sometimes, but it's it's just so thrilling. Anyway, uh, pausing here to say that had thought I had considered keeping the drips because I was like, that's a record of this painting. But then when I stood back, it just felt like, ew, I didn't like it. So I am covering them up. And that feels better and cleaner. And then decided actually to just completely get rid of this form. And, where it ends up, I definitely kind of feel it missing, but it's been this thing where I've been meditating on like, is something missing or do I just have more breathing room? I don't know. Anyway, my camera runs out of memory here in a second, so we don't finish the painting process. Sorry about that.